Good morning. It's Wednesday, 10 a.m., time for our weekly social media training, our Facebook training this morning. We're talking about creating quick and engaging posts using engaging captions. So, what we're focusing on today are the captions. So, let me share the screen and we can get started. Right, slideshow. There we go. Right. So here we go, creating quick and engaging posts with engaging captions. So next week we'll go a bit further, but today we're going to focus on captions. And all of these things are to empower your Facebook page. So let's look at the art of the short, punchy caption. We live in a society where everything is completely instant. We want it and we want it now. We don't want to wait. So there is a place for long form captions, especially on Instagram. But to be honest, the shorter, the punchier your caption is, the better you are going to draw people in to actually read them. Because uh, it has been said by many, many people that today humans have the concentration span of a goldfish and probably even less when it comes to social media. So the trick is to try and capture people's interest, capture their attention. And in order to keep that attention, usually having a short caption is the easiest way to do that. So let's look at some examples. And as we're looking at your Facebook business page, let's look at, the whole purpose of having your Facebook business page is for the local relevance, is you are reaching people in the area of your store. And so what we're looking today is to emphasize local relevance. I have spoken about this in previous trainings as well. And I know when Nats has visited interested store owners, she's spoken a lot about using local news and that kind of thing in your Facebook posts. As you know, we do the main Universal Paint page uh, has pretty much daily posts, but they're generic. Whereas your local Facebook business page, you need to bring in local relevance. You need to share something that will have relevance to the people that are following you in your area. So things like local events and news, any upcoming events in your community. Is there a school concert happening or a school fete? Is there a shopping center doing some sort of amazing, especially if it's the shopping center where your store is? Are they doing some sort of special or some sort of promotion, some sort of event to attract people? All those things are great for your Facebook page. Uh, Community specific language. So this will be for South Africans more than for your local area. But, things like we will say in America, they might say, hi, bro. Whereas in South Africa, we might say, how's it, bro? Things like that, that South Africans will recognize and will relate to, and maybe even bring a little smile to their face. Be careful with the use of slang. Don't overdo it, and don't use slang that could be controversial. But things like what I've just mentioned will work well. It's a nationally recognized. Like we use phrases like Mzansi and things like that. They have become Aish is another one. They have become local South African sayings that we all recognize straight away, and it sort of creates a bond, a feeling of belonging, of togetherness, of nationalism in a small way. So yeah, local slang and even references. Is there a local sports event? Things like that. Be sure to to think of how you can use that on your Facebook page, how you can use it in your captions. Questions are always a great thing to use in captions because it's encouraging engagement. We're wanting people to answer the question. So if you share something about something happening at the local music club or sports club, maybe ask a question at the end. What's your favorite local spot? Or, what events do you know that are happening in the area? Things like that. Try and create a sense of community in your captions. So things like join us for our annual community picnic. Maybe your store is doing a Saturday boerewors rolls outside the store, that creates a sense of community. Put it on your posts. Highlight unique selling points. So for Universal Paint, a great selling point is locally made, South African, by South African, that type of thing. So just think about what you can do around your store and the products that you're selling. And then also store updates. We've spoken a lot about behind the scenes, and people love that. They love to see the people behind the business. Birthdays, take a little reel of everybody singing happy birthday to someone in your store. That kind of thing. People love them. So don't hold back. Don't hold back. So I've actually spoken about behind the scenes, but here's another look at that. Here's a sneak peek of our daily operations. You can just do a quick tour of the store and, maybe a short little interview of one of your staff behind the counter or something like that, or somebody mixing paints. That's a great one because that's visually a great thing to show. Those kind of things. And then customer highlights. Each store has got some regular customers that come in a lot and you've built relationships with. Think of using that, obviously with the customer's permission, but say, here, meet Jane. She's been with us for 5 years. Jane, why do you keep coming back to our store? That type of thing. That's always a great form of posting for the local store. And when you write the caption for it, keep it short and punchy. Right, what about the use of emojis and hashtags? Let's look at that. There was a time where businesses didn't use emojis. They thought it was unprofessional, but those days have long gone. Emojis have almost become a language of their own. So feel free to use them in your captions. They do add personality and emotion. So an example here is, we're excited to see you, with a smiley face. They do also, I've said here, enhance readability. So they do catch the eye. When you're scrolling, and then you see hashtags, it generally attracts you more than just text. Okay, so new arrivals are in, celebration, and, well, we would put a paint can there, not a dress. And then hashtags. So I always suggest that every store uses their store name as a hashtag. So you would put hashtag Universal Paints Rand Park, or hashtag Universal Paints Bruma, whatever your store is. I always encourage doing that. And, buy local, shop local, support local are also great hashtags. So think of the hashtags that suit your post. Hashtags are basically used like keywords. So it helps people to find your post if they are looking for something around that store. So your store name, if somebody's looking for the Universal Paints in Bruma, when the hashtag says Universal Paints Bruma and they're searching, that hashtag may come up. Okay, so if you're doing a post about mixing paint, you can put hashtag paint mix. If you're doing something about decor, hashtag decor, or hashtag home decor, hashtag DIY, whatever works for the post that you are doing. But do make sure to use them because they are a form of search. In Instagram, it's so easy to find posts with hashtags. You just go into the search bar in your Instagram feed, go into the search bar, and you put in hashtag and whatever it is you're looking for. So you could say hashtag hashtag kitchen DIY, for example. And then all the popular posts on Instagram that have used that hashtag come up in like a little explore screen. And so if you're using those hashtags, the chances are you might land up in that, especially if it's been a post that many people have liked or shared. But the hashtag becomes like a search engine. The same on Facebook. It's not as effective on Facebook as it is on Instagram, but it is still a keyword to help you be found. When you run a competition or a promotion where you're looking for people who have replied. So, for instance, when Boksburg did the Christmas village at Empress Palace last year, they had the stand there, and they had a competition where people took a selfie at the stand and they could win something. So in order to find those selfies, they used the hashtag Universal Paint Boksburg. And to find the winners, they went into Facebook, searched the hashtag Universal Paints Boksburg, went into Instagram, searched the hashtag Universal Paint Boksburg, and all the people who had taken selfies and used that hashtag, their pictures came up. And then we could collate all of those pictures and do a lucky draw and find a winner. So whenever you're doing any kind of competition or giveaway, the use of hashtags is really super important. Right, some simple tips for writing captions. So the main thing about a caption is that there's always a hook. A hook is the thing that they first see, is the thing that that captures their attention. A hook, it needs to be made in the first 3 seconds. So if it's a post with a picture, the hook will be that first line, all right, that draws their attention. So it's great to have an emoji with the hook, and then makes them think, oh, should I read on? You know, this looks interesting, let me read on. In the case of a video or a reel, what you say or what is on the screen in the first 3 seconds is what is the hook, is what will capture people's attention. So when you create a reel, it's always good to have some sort of text in those first 3 seconds. And that text must be a hook. It must be something that captures attention. You know, so here's a hook. Don't miss out, you know, or imagine if, or what if, you know, things that make people want to know more. So when you're writing a caption, always think of the first line or the first thing seen on the screen should be your hook, should be something that is interesting enough to make people want to go further and not just scroll on. Also, when you have captions, try and give some sort of value. So the example given here is when there's a promotion, get 20% off, da-da-da-da-da. Other examples of value is when you share tips. So when you're trying to clean your paintbrush, in fact, well, that wouldn't be the hook. This would be the value, but you don't want to use too many words. So here's how to clean here's a great hack on how to clean your paintbrush so it doesn't go hard or whatever it is, but give some sort of value. Okay. And then also one of the really, really important part of any caption is the call to action. Okay. Because people will read it and think, oh, that's great, and then scroll on. But tell them what to do in the call to action. And it can be something as simple as visit us today or as follow us for more tips. But tell them what you want them to do. You can even be like this post so you see more of our tips. think hard. So you've always got your hook, you always give something of value, and then you have a call to action. You tell them what to do. Visit us in store, check out our website, comment below. That's a good one because you want engagement. The more engagement you have, the more they will see your posts. And by asking them to comment something below is when they're engaging with you. Always answer the comments. Always, always answer the comments. And that's also where questions come in because you're asking them basically to comment below when you're asking a question. Always respond to their answers, to their responses. All right, so I've looked through the internet and found a whole lot of tips from the gurus in social media, people who are doing really, really well on their Facebook pages. And I've just collated some of the ones that I thought were really, really helpful. They're from all sorts of different people. So the first one is to use the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. And what you need to do there is in your captions, just make it something short, simple, and easy to repeat. Keep it simple. People on social media generally for long debates and for a thesis on something, they just want quick, easy, instant tips, entertainment, information. So whatever your post is about, keep it simple. Make it short, make it simple, and make it easy for them to repeat or easy for them to remember. The next one is to be authentic. So authenticity is a buzzword that's been around for a while, but I think that buzzword is for a good reason. We live in a world where influencer marketing has become huge, and it is effective without a doubt. But in recent times, there's definitely been a bit of a move away from the perfect influencer, the influencer that looks absolutely 100% all the time, that most of us look at and we think, oh, well, we'll never be like that. And it's moving more towards the normal everyday person. So for instance, where, you've got these mega influencers like the Kardashians, the celebrities of the world who have millions, literally millions of followers. And before, brands would use them to advertise in some sort of way or to use their product and give a review on it. But people aren't buying that anymore. They know that these guys are just being paid for doing the review, and people aren't buying that anymore. And so now there's a move towards nano influencers. So those are people who've maybe got 1,000 followers. And the reason behind that is because people relate to those influencers far more. They're more like you and me. And so there's almost a bit more trust. It's going back to that word of mouth marketing. And so that's where authenticity comes in, where you're not trying to be the superhero of the decor world. You're just sharing tips that you've learned from the trade, tips that you've learned from your own customers who've come back and raved about this or that or showed you what they've done. You're just an everyday person with a little bit more knowledge than the others, and you're sharing those tips. You're sharing that knowledge. You're giving some sort of value. You're having fun while you're doing it. So the whole thing is really to be yourself as much as you possibly can. And the important thing on social media is that people get to know, like, and trust you. And when they know, like, and trust you, you will get far more of a following. So that's all about authenticity. And then if there's and when you're sharing stuff about DIY or paint, don't get caught up in the trade words in the industry. Use layman's terms. Use, like, when you've got a customer who comes into the store, talk to your social media, talk on your social media exactly like that. And a good tip as well is, especially if you're doing videos, is imagine one of your customers. So actually think of a specific person, Henry, who comes in at least, every month or every second month or whatever it may be, one of the customers you know well. And when you're talking on your video, pretend you're talking to Henry. And so you're focusing on a specific person and you're talking naturally like you would talk to that person, rather than trying to be all fancy and act like an influencer. Don't worry, just be yourself and share as if you're sharing to your customer. Right, the next tip from the pro is to keep it short, which is coming up a lot. Okay, apparently only half of our followers actually read captions. So think of yourself when you're scrolling through social media. Do you read the captions? And if you do, which captions do you read? Do you like the long form ones or do you read the short ones? Do you look, do emojis attract you or don't they? Do you, what are the things that attract you in a caption? And remember that when you're writing your social media captions. But apparently only half of the people actually read captions. And then those that do read captions went on to say that they only take the time to read it if it's a short caption. So by all means, once in a while, do a long form. Storytelling is a great thing, and maybe you can tell a story, but it has to be interesting and it has to have a hook and it has to keep people interested the whole way through. But the easiest way to write a caption is to keep it short, like we said, the KISS principle. Another tip from the pro, which we've also spoken about many times, is to ask questions. By asking questions and encouraging comments and listening to responses, you are better able to know and understand your audience. So we've spoken about asking questions to get engagement, but now when they engage, you need to listen and respond. Okay. And all of these answers to questions are giving you insights into your Facebook audience and the audience around your store. So pay good attention to that. We have a few more tips from the pros. So this one is to be honest and personal. Crafted business speech or simply announcing a message have little impact. So don't craft this business slogan or whatever. Just speak from your heart. The personal approach has far more impact than spending hours and hours crafting a perfect marketing pitch. Speak from your heart. Be honest and personal. Then one of the other tips is to add humor, because people remember the brand that add humor and they often share it. And that's another thing that we really want. We want people to like, to comment, and to share. All of that is engagement. All of that brings them back to more of our posts. The algorithm feeds more of our posts to people that like, share, and comment. Okay, so by asking questions, you're getting them to comment. By posting some things that are humorous, you're probably getting them to like or show the funny emoji face, and possibly even share the post. Just think of brands like Nando's. Okay, we all know Nando's for their humor. We all love it. And the Nando's ads are always shared over and over and over again. I think nearly every Nando's ads, and I'm open to correction, but a lot of their ads go viral, and it's because people share them because they're so funny. A word of caution with humor is make sure that, everybody has a different sense of humor. So you need to find a universal humor. Don't poke fun at any particular ethnic group or, just be cautious. Make sure if you're going to share something that you wonder, is this funny? First, get advice from all your colleagues and say, is this something that would amuse you or offend you. Don't go into offense. Don't make fun of individuals or groups. You can always make fun of yourself. That's the only person you can make fun of. But yeah, have a look at the Nando's ads and look at watch the type of posts that you look at. Memes are a good way of adding humor. Memes are great. So do a little bit of Google research on that, and it is a fun way of posting. I would do it not every single post, but certainly once in a while. And then using one of the last tip we've got is to use relevant trends and news. So if you're on TikTok at all, or even on Instagram, you often see trends that spill over onto Facebook. A lot of memes become trends. There was a trend recently, the Emmy Awards had, I think the guy's name is Beston Boone, somebody Boone anyway, and he sang, I think the song is called Beautiful. I can't quite remember. But what he did at the Emmys was he was in a one of those fancy suits, tux. He was in a tuxedo at the Emmy Awards, and they announced him doing his song. And he got up in his tux, and these two beautiful women appeared from wherever, from the audience, as he stood up, and they each pulled his jacket apart, and his jacket came off, and he yanked his pants, and his pants came off, and underneath he had this really old-fashioned sort of 80s ABBA-like suit, glittery and glitzy, and he started singing in this funny little suit of his, very retro, jumped up on the stage, jumped up on the piano, did a somersault, all while he was singing. It was apparently quite athletic and very, very entertaining. So that became not only news, but also a trend. And then what people did was they started using that piece of video, and they would put their own little theme to it. So they would say, I'm trying to think now of an example, but they would say something, they'd make a meme out of it, like one of the big things on trends is POV, which means point of view. So they'd have him on the piano in his slinky little suit, and they'd say, POV, this is what I'll look like when I lose my 20 kgs, something like that. So they take a trend and they make it their own. And what I'll do for next week, because I didn't think to do it until now, but for next week, I'll look for a few of those trends and share them with next week's post, next week's training. But yeah, relevant trends and news. What I've said here is be wise with how you do this. Stay away from controversy and tragedies. There was a time when social media brands or companies and brands on social media would use a tragedy to show their condolences, and it may have even started with a pure heart, but it ended up becoming like a greenwashing type of thing, where they used the tragedy to promote their brands. So stay away from that by all means. So next week, thank you everybody. We're running out of time. But what we're going to do next week is we're going to look at the second really important part of our Facebook post, and that's the visuals. So today we've looked at the captions, and next week we're going to look at the visuals. So the pictures that you use, or the reels or the videos that you use alongside the captions, and how we can optimize those to empower our Facebook page. I hope this has been helpful. Once again, I do ask you, if you have any questions, please send them on to Nats. If you've got anything you want to learn about on social media that I can create a video like this for, please let her know. These will be posted on the platform, and I hope that you get a lot of value out of it. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.